There is something I was not supposed to tell you. Not because it is secret, but because it is dangerous. Dangerous in the way that truth is always dangerous to people who have built their entire lives on comfortable lies. I once sat with a Zen master in Kyoto who told me something so unsettling that I did not sleep for 3 nights afterward. He said, "The love you are searching for is a ghost. You are chasing a ghost. And the tragedy is not that you cannot catch it. The tragedy is that you are the ghost, pretending to be the one doing the chasing." Now, I did not understand what he meant. Not then. It took me years of watching people fall in love and fall apart. Years of watching two people stare into each other's eyes with the desperation of drowning swimmers, each one hoping the other will somehow become the shore. Years of seeing what we call romance reveal itself to be, in most cases, a very elaborate form of mutual using. But then, every once in a while, I would witness something else, something so rare that when I first saw it, I thought I was imagining it. Two people meeting, and instead of that familiar hungry look, that scanning for what can be extracted, there was stillness, recognition, as if two mirrors had been placed facing each other, and for the first time, infinity was seeing itself. What happens when two genuinely awakened souls meet? Not what the spiritual Instagram accounts tell you, not what the twin flame communities describe. Something far stranger, far more beautiful, and far more terrifying to everything you have been taught about love. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal will either change how you understand every relationship you ever had, or it will make you very, very uncomfortable. Perhaps both. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you were with someone and felt absolutely no need to be anything other than what you are? No performance, no calculation, no subtle anxiety about whether you are. Enough. Drop your answer in the comments, because this question is the doorway to everything we are about to explore. If you are someone who suspects that there is something more to love and connection than what you have been sold, subscribe to this channel. We go where the polite conversations refuse to go. And today, we are going all the way. Now, here is the trap. And you are in it right now. We all are. From the moment you were born, you were told a story. A very convincing story. A story so universally accepted that questioning it feels almost insane. The story goes like this: you are incomplete. Something is missing. And somewhere out there, walking around in another body, is the piece that will complete you. Find that piece, and you will finally be whole. Find that piece, and the gnawing emptiness will stop. Find that piece, and you will be happy. This is the mythology of romantic love as our civilization understands it. It is, I am sorry to say, complete and utter nonsense. But it is nonsense that we believe with every fiber of our being. We believe it so deeply that we organize our entire lives around it. We swipe through faces on glowing screens looking. We go to parties and scan the room looking. We lie awake at night feeling that ache, that loneliness, that desperate wanting, and we are certain, absolutely certain, that what we need is out there, in someone else, in the right someone else. Here is what nobody tells you. You are not looking for love. You are looking for relief from yourself. You are looking for someone to distract you from the uncomfortable experience of being alone with your own mind. You are looking for a warm body to place between you and the void. And when you find someone willing to play that role, you call it falling in love. But here is the thing that should keep you up at night. Two empty people cannot fill each other. Two people running from themselves cannot become each other's refuge. Two people who do not know who they are cannot recognize each other. It is like two blind people describing colors to each other. They can use all the right words. They can nod and agree and feel understood. But neither of them has ever actually seen red. This is most relationships. Two blind people pretending they can see. Two hungry ghosts feeding on each other and calling it nourishment. Two people playing a game they do not even know they are playing. But here is where it gets fascinating. What happens when someone actually wakes up? What happens when someone stops running from themselves and turns around to face what they have been fleeing? And what happens when two such people, by some strange grace, find themselves face to face? That is where the real story begins. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let me tell you about someone, because his story shows exactly how the illusion works and what happens when it shatters. His name was Thomas, a professor of philosophy at a small college in New England. Brilliant mind, 3 marriages behind him, each one ending in the same bewildered devastation. He came to one of my lectures in the late 1960s, and afterward he approached me with eyes that looked like they had not rested in decades. He said, "Mr. Watts, I have read all the books. I understand the concepts intellectually. I can explain non-duality and emptiness and the nature of self to my students. But I am still lonely. I am still looking for someone to make it stop. What am I missing?" And I told him something that changed his life, though not immediately. These things never work immediately. The mind resists the obvious with tremendous creativity. I said, "Thomas, you are lonely because you think you are Thomas. The loneliness is not a problem to be solved by finding the right person. The loneliness is a symptom of a case of mistaken identity. You have believed a lie about what you are. And as long as you believe that lie, no other person can touch you. Not really. They can touch Thomas. They can touch the mask, the role, the performance, but they cannot touch you because you are not available. You are hiding behind an idea of yourself." He did not understand, not then. He went away frustrated, probably thinking I was speaking in riddles to avoid giving a straight answer. But something had been planted, a seed of doubt in the story he had been telling himself. 3 years later, I received a letter from him. He had stopped teaching, stopped looking for wife number 4. He had spent those 3 years simply sitting with himself, not meditating in any formal sense, just refusing to run, refusing to distract himself, refusing to fill the emptiness with another person, another project, another story. And something had cracked open. He wrote, "I finally understand what you meant. I was looking for someone to complete me, but there is no me to complete. What I thought was loneliness was actually just the echo of believing I was separate. When I stopped believing in the separation, the loneliness did not go away. It was revealed to have never existed in the first place. It was a symptom of an illness I never actually had." And then he wrote something that I have never forgotten. "I met someone last week, and for the first time in my life, I was not scanning her for what she could give me. I was not calculating whether she could fill my emptiness. I was not performing the version of myself I thought she would want. I was simply there, and she felt it. I could see her relax. I could see her stop performing too. For a few minutes we just sat together, not as 2 people trying to get something from each other, as 2 expressions of the same thing recognizing itself. Have you ever had a moment like this, where something you believed your whole life suddenly fell apart, where you saw through a game you did not know you were playing? Tell me about it in the comments, because these moments are more important than we realize. Now, let me explain what is actually happening in cases like Thomas, because this is not mystical poetry. This is the mechanics of consciousness. And once you understand the mechanics, you will never see relationships the same way again. You see, we think we are persons, separate, isolated, contained within these bags of skin. We think there is an inside where you live and an outside where everyone else lives. And from this fundamental assumption, everything else follows. If I am in here and you are out there, then connection is a problem to be solved. I have to reach across the gap. I have to find a way to merge with you, to possess you, to make you mine, so that the terrible aloneness will finally end. But here is the cosmic joke, and it is a joke. You are supposed to laugh. There is no gap. There never was. The separation you are trying to overcome does not exist except as a thought, a very persistent, very convincing thought. But still, just a thought. Think about it this way. When you dream at night, your dream is full of apparently separate people, the dreamer, and all the other characters. They seem separate. They have different faces, different personalities, different agendas. In the dream, you might fall in love with one of them. You might fear another. You might fight with a third. But when you wake up, you realize something obvious. All of those characters were you, the lover, the enemy, the stranger on the street. All of them were your own consciousness, playing dress-up, pretending to be many. Now, what if I told you that waking life works the same way, not metaphorically? Literally, what you call other people are not separate from what you are. They appear in your consciousness, just like dream characters appear in your dreams. The sense that they are other is part of the play, part of the game. The universe playing hide and seek with itself, pretending to be many so it can experience the joy of meeting itself. This is what the mystics have been saying for thousands of years. This is what Zen calls the one-hand clapping. This is what the Hindus mean by Atman is Brahman. This is the open secret that is hidden in plain sight. And when two people wake up to this, when two apparent individuals see through the illusion of their separation, something extraordinary happens. They are no longer two people trying to connect. They are one consciousness, recognizing itself in two mirrors. They are the ocean, playing at being two waves, delighting in the apparent collision. And this changes everything about how they relate. Now, what I am about to explain next is where most people's minds either explode or completely shut down. This is the part that you will either never forget or desperately try to forget. Stay with me here. When two awakened souls meet, the first thing that happens is the absence of need. And this is terrifying to the ego. The ego is built on need. It needs validation. It needs security. It needs to be loved. It needs to be right. Take away the need, and the ego starts to panic. It thinks it is dying. In a sense, it is. But what replaces the need is something far more interesting. Space, openness, a kind of relaxed attention that has no agenda. When I am not trying to get something from you, I can finally see you. Not the you I want you to be. Not the you that serves my purposes. The actual you. The mystery of you. The irreducible strangeness of another point of view that I can never fully enter or possess. This seeing is what we actually mean by love, though we use that word for so many things that it has almost lost its meaning. Real love is not a feeling, though feelings accompany it. Real love is a way of seeing. It is the recognition of yourself in what appears to be other. It is the dissolution of the boundary between self and not self, not by merging, but by recognizing that the boundary was imaginary to begin with. And here is what is fascinating. When someone looks at you this way, without need, without agenda, without the desperate grabbing of the lonely ego, you feel it. Your whole body relaxes. Your defenses soften. You stop performing because you realize, perhaps for the first time, that you do not have to earn this attention. It is not conditional. It is not going to be withdrawn if you make a mistake. It is simply there, like sunlight, freely given, asking nothing in return. This is what most people are actually looking for when they say they want love. Not the anxious attachment they usually find, not the negotiation of needs, not the subtle contract of I will be what you want if you will be what I need. They want this simple, clear, unconditional seeing. But you cannot experience it until you are willing to give it. And you cannot give it until you have stopped believing that you are a separate self who needs something from the outside to be complete. Here is the thing that scared Jung. He knew that most people, if they truly saw through the illusion of separation, would not be able to handle it. Ego experiences the death of its boundaries as literal death. The terror is real, even if the danger is not. Most people, when they get a glimpse of their true nature, run back to the familiar prison of their separate self as fast as they can. At least prison is known. At least the chains are familiar. But some people do not run. Some people stay with the terror until it reveals itself to be just another wave of experience passing through the vast space of what they are. And these people become capable of something that most human beings only dream about. They become capable of real relationship, real intimacy, real love. Think about what this actually means. Once you really understand this, everything changes. Let me tell you about another situation, because this shows how it plays out in ordinary life. A woman named Clara, a psychotherapist in San Francisco. She had been on what she called the spiritual path for 20 years. Retreats, teachers, practices, books. She knew all the concepts. But her relationships kept following the same pattern. Initial excitement, gradual disappointment, eventual collapse. She was starting to believe that she was simply not capable of lasting love. And then she had what she described as a spiritual emergency, a complete breakdown of everything she thought she knew. For 3 weeks, she could barely function. Her identity was dissolving. She did not know who she was anymore. In psychiatric terms, it looked like a psychotic break, but something in her knew it was something else. She was not losing her mind. She was losing her illusion of herself. When she came out the other side, something had permanently shifted. She said it was like she had been wearing glasses her whole life, and suddenly realized they were there. She could now see the filter through which she had been experiencing everything. The filter of me and mine and what I need and what I fear. And with that filter recognized, it became optional. She could still use it when necessary. She could still function as Clara, go to work, pay her bills, have conversations. But she knew, in a way that was not merely intellectual, that Clara was a role she was playing, not who she actually was. Within a year, she met someone, and she said the experience was unlike anything she had known before. She said, "I was not looking at him as a solution to my loneliness. I was not scanning him for how he could complete me. I was just there, and he was there. And there was this incredible intimacy that had nothing to do with knowing his history or sharing my wounds or any of the usual relationship rituals. We were just two beings, recognizing that we were not two." Here is what she said that perfectly captures this. "I finally understand why my other relationships failed. I was showing up as a hungry ghost, and I was attracting other hungry ghosts. We were all trying to eat each other and calling it love. This is different. Neither of us is hungry. Neither of us needs the other to survive. So we are free to actually enjoy each other, to appreciate each other, to let each other be whatever we are becoming. I am curious. As you are hearing this, what is shifting in your understanding? What is clicking? What is making you uncomfortable? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And your discomfort is as valuable as your insight, perhaps more so. Now, let us get practical. Because philosophy that does not touch your actual life is just entertainment. When you approach relationships from this place of wholeness, several things change immediately. First, you stop performing. You know that exhausting thing you do on dates and in early relationships? The constant monitoring of yourself? Am I being interesting enough? Funny enough? Attractive enough? Am I saying the right things? Revealing too much? Not enough? All of that drops away. Not because you stop caring about the other person's experience, but because you are no longer treating their approval as essential to your survival. You can be awkward, you can be boring sometimes, you can be fully human, and it is fine. You are not auditioning for the role of their salvation. Second, you stop demanding the subtle and not so subtle ways we pressure our partners to be different, to give us more, to meet our needs on our schedule. All of that relaxes. You realize that your needs are your responsibility, your happiness is your business. The other person is not here to complete you or fix you or save you from yourself. They are here to dance with you, and you cannot dance with someone you are constantly grabbing at. Third, you stop fearing. Fear of abandonment, fear of betrayal, fear of being alone again. These fears are rooted in the belief that you need the other person to be okay. When you discover that you are already okay, that you have always been okay, that your okayness does not depend on anyone else, the fear loses its power. It may still arise as a sensation, a contraction in the body, but you do not believe it anymore. Do not let it run the show. The next time you find yourself in the presence of another person, try an experiment. Notice the subtle ways you are reaching for something: approval, validation, reassurance, entertainment, distraction from yourself. Just notice it. You do not have to stop it. Just see it. Because the seeing is already the beginning of freedom. You will start noticing this everywhere. Once you see it, you cannot stop seeing it. Couples who are not really with each other, each one lost in their private world of need and fear. And occasionally, rarely, two people who are actually present, actually there, actually meeting. And you will feel the difference. It is unmistakable. It is what every human being is starving for. Not more love, more presence, more actual meeting. If this is opening new doors in your mind, take a moment to subscribe. There is a community here of people who are done with sleepwalking through their relationships. Your presence matters, and there is so much more to explore together. But here is what most people miss. And this is the deeper revelation that separates those who merely understand these ideas from those who actually live them. When two awakened souls meet, they are not having a personal relationship. They are having a cosmic experience. They are the universe looking at itself through two pairs of eyes and marveling at its own reflection. This might sound abstract, but stay with me because it is the key to everything. You see, the ordinary relationship is between two persons, and persons are when you really look at them. Bundles of memory, conditioning, habit, and fear. Thomas the professor, Clara the therapist. Names and histories and personalities. These are not who we really are. These are what we have learned to pretend to be. But the awakened relationship is between what is looking out of these eyes before it is filtered into personhood. It is consciousness meeting consciousness. Awareness recognizing awareness. The formless, playing in form, delighting in the apparent meeting of what was never separate. This is what the mystics call union. Not two people becoming one, but the recognition that there never were two. There never could be. The two is part of the game. The two is how the one experiences relationship with itself. But through the two, if the eyes are clear, the one is always shining. And here is the part that can be shocking. When you relate from this place, you are no longer committed to the relationship lasting. I know, that sounds like the opposite of love as we usually define it. We think love means forever. Love means holding on. Love means never letting go. But think about that for a moment. Is it love that grasps? Is it love that clings? Is it love that says, you must stay with me or I will be destroyed? Or is that fear wearing the mask of love? Real love, the love that arises from wholeness rather than need, holds everything loosely. It says, I love you, I want you in my life, and I am perfectly willing to let you go, not because it does not care, but because it recognizes that you are free, that you have always been free, that any attempt to cage you would be a violation of what you actually are. And here is the paradox. The relationship that holds loosely lasts longer than the relationship that grips tightly. Because when there is no grasping, there is no resistance. When there is no clinging, there is no suffocation. When there is no fear of loss, there is no poison slowly killing the connection. The tighter you hold, the more you lose. The more you let go, the more comes to you. This is the secret that those who have awakened understand. This is why their relationships have a quality that others can feel but not name. And there is one more piece to this that might be the most important thing I say in this entire video. What happens when you really get this? Stay with me. There is a price to awakening. And I want to be honest with you about it, because the spiritual marketplace is full of people selling enlightenment as the solution to all your problems. It is not. When you wake up, you lose the ability to participate in the collective dream with full conviction. You see through the games. You see the fear beneath the grasping. You see the loneliness beneath the neediness. You see how people use each other and call it love, and you cannot unsee it. Some days, this feels like a gift. You are free from illusions that cause so much suffering. You are no longer running on the treadmill of seeking and never finding. Other days, it feels like exile. You are the sober person at the drunk party. Everyone around you is playing a game that no longer makes sense to you. They are getting excited about things that you know will not deliver what they promise. They are fighting battles that you know are with shadows. You will be misunderstood. People will think you do not care because you do not cling. They will think you are cold because you are not desperate. They will think something is wrong with you because you are not playing the game. Some relationships will fall away. Not because you reject people, but because they need you to need them, and you do not. You cannot pretend to. The pretending is over. This is the price. But here is what you gain that makes the price worth paying. You gain the capacity for real relationship, not the imitation that most people settle for. The real thing. Intimacy without fear, connection without grasping, love without conditions, presence without performance. You gain peace that does not depend on circumstances. The relationship can stay or go. You are okay either way. Not because you do not care, but because your okayness is not contingent on what happens. You gain freedom. The freedom to love without needing to possess. The freedom to connect without losing yourself. The freedom to be fully with someone while remaining fully yourself. And when you meet another soul who has paid the same price, who has walked through the same fire, something happens that makes every bit of suffering worth it. Two freedoms meeting, two wholenesses recognizing each other, two waves of the ocean playing together, knowing they are one water. This is what happens when two awakened souls meet. Not what the movies show, not what the love. Songs promise something far more subtle, far more rare, far more real. Now, you might be thinking that all of this is beautiful but impractical, that you live in the real world with real problems and real relationships that are messy and complicated. And you are right. Awakening does not remove you from the mess of human life. You still have a body that gets hungry and tired and sick. You still have a personality with preferences and quirks and rough edges. You still live in a world full of people who are asleep, running on fear and need, doing their best with what they have. The difference is not in the circumstances. The difference is in you. Jung said the resistance to awakening is part of awakening. The fact that your mind is arguing with this right now, if it is not a problem. It is a sign that something is being challenged, something that needs to be challenged. The very fact that you are still watching means something in you recognizes what is being pointed to. You would not have stayed this long otherwise. Something in you knows, and that something is not your mind, it is not your thoughts, it is not your conditioning. It is what you actually are, trying to remember itself. So when we put this all together, what are we seeing? We are seeing that the search for the perfect partner is a distraction from the real work. The real work is waking up, recognizing what you are, ceasing to identify with the hungry ghost that thinks it needs someone else to be whole. And from that recognition, relationship becomes possible for the first time. Not the exhausting game of mutual using. Real relationship, real meeting, two manifestations of the same consciousness, delighting in the apparent encounter, is the beautiful thing. You do not have to wait until you are fully awakened to begin. Every moment of genuine presence is awakening. Every time you drop the performance and simply be with someone, you are tasting what is possible. Every time you notice the grasping and let go, you are practicing the art of real love. It does not happen all at once. It happens in moments, moments that become more frequent, moments that begin to link together, until one day you notice that you are no longer performing your way through relationships. You are actually having them. If your mind is buzzing right now, if something has shifted in how you see things, hit subscribe. Every new subscriber helps this wisdom reach more people who are ready for it. And I believe you are ready. You would not be here otherwise. So here is the question I will leave you with. What would your relationships look like if you had nothing to get from them? If you were already full? If you were not using the other person as a solution to the problem of being yourself? Not as an ideal to achieve someday, as an experiment to try today. The next person you encounter, whether it is your partner, your friend, a stranger on the street, see what happens when you drop the agenda, when you stop scanning for what you can get, when you simply meet them as one expression of consciousness greeting another. You might be surprised. You might find that the connection you have been seeking was available all along. You were just too busy grasping to notice. After everything we have explored today, I want to know, what is one thing you are going to see differently now? What insight will you carry with you? Tell me in the comments below. If this has touched something real in you, if these ideas have opened doors you did not know existed, subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and ring that notification bell. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who is tired of the games, someone who is ready to wake up. There is more here for you. Until next time, remember this. You are not a person looking for love. You are love looking for the recognition that it was never missing anything. Stay curious, stay awake, and I will see you in the next one.